onto the control point. So different approaches on this map as well. Going to be curious to see how these teams approach it.
The great thing on the Numbani is that there's at least 4 to 5, depending on how you want to classify it, ways of getting in here on the first point as an offense. And there's a lot of different heroes that get play here that don't get play on a whole lot of other maps. Now, we see Torbjorn a decent amount on defense here. We saw Mei back when Mei wasn't even all that popular. We saw even Bastion for a time here, both offense and defense. Again, haven't seen too much of everyone's favorite Omnic as of late, but it's a map where people are very much willing to experiment and go in. Double dive comp, of course, commonly a thing. Not going to be the case here from the offense. So offense looks like they're going to be running triple tank, not triple support. So, but they will be Roadhog, Zarya, Reinhardt to start things out here. And Juan's going to be on Fantasy here to land those early hooks.
Yeah, that's going to put a huge amount of pressure on him to actually sort of find the picks, and he's going to struggle as well if they're going to go up here because REUNITED are just positioned to reposition quickly, and they're going to be well out of range of that. Kib just jumping in, laying in some damage, and Unfix just holding the door. They know where they're coming from. They're just going to try and shift out here. Unfix eats a flashbang, but goes back, and they're ready to engage.
Yep, they're moving in right now. Fantasy has gotten to backline. Is a little bit exposed. Could get Dova on here in a moment. D.Va actually pretty good at tank versus tank combat here. As REUNITED, they're bending a little bit, not breaking, getting a decent poke, but the offensive carved out for themselves a decent positioning here. This isn't bad, but Swoosh in trouble. Down low, REUNITED is starting to engage, moving in. Unfix able to get first pick off on the Fantasy. And now the 65, this is where REUNITED can slowly start chipping away. Kib into the backline. Already has a Dragon Blade, moving in for the cleanup, gets the double kill, and that is going to send EndPoint away.
Yeah, Kib just open like Kib is the sushi chef. He's adopted that moniker and he just sliced and diced it. That's the danger, especially when your team is all clumped out like that. He just got a couple of good alpha strikes, just went right through them, cut through several of the enemy team and built up that ultimate super fast, and he was ready to go. Cut them down like a hot knife through butter. It was disgustingly good out of Kib. But that's what we expect out of Kib. He's sort of becoming a star player on REUNITED. He's becoming the guy that the team looks to when they're a bit down in the dumps, and he's so strong lately.
And he was the guy that was scouted out of nowhere. Did not play a whole lot in beta. I'm not even sure at beta at all. Just came in from ranked, but definitely is quite good. And right now, leaps to the back line, getting a good poke and building up Dragon Blade once more. Already about to be at 50% in Fantasy and Trouble Discord Orb, almost sealing his doom. But here comes Swoosh, able to take out Winghaven early on. 65 opportunity here for the offense. Sound Bearer is in. They feel like they have an opportunity. They're going to try and solidify this with these support ultimates. But here comes Defensive Transcendence on the way. And Kib, Dragon Blade is out once more. And once his Transcendence is over, he is going to unleash. And this could mean big trouble here for the side of the offense.
Yeah, and Unfixed gets a double kill off the back of that airburst bomb from D.Va. He just chucked it in the air and managed to land 2 kills off the back of that. So that's going to put an end to this immediately. Kib gets to keep his Dragon Blade for the next fight, so he's going to be ready and raring to go. Now, there's not actually much silver lining here as well for EndPoint. Like, they do have the 2 tank ultimates that they might want, which is Shadow and Graviton Surge, and they bring out Fantasy as well, moving off the Roadhog. This is actually no, instantly changing it to the Monkey, but these are good changes that I like to see because you've got to engage hard on this map. Every single pro team runs the same kind of offensive here, where they just try and dive on as hard as you can, and you need the Winston and sometimes even a D.Va as well to support that. And Fantasy going right in the backline, trying to chase down Mort, but gets no dice for it, no value there.
Kib with the Dragon Blade early in the fight does get flashbanged, will die as a result. Swoosh going at least with a goodbye gif. 44 right now as the offense able to keep it forward. Frygam does have Graviton here at the ready. Will he be able to mop up the remainder? Not a whole lot of grouped up REUNITED members here as Volataja late in the fight, going for trademark McCree cleanup. This is where McCree can absolutely be devastating as a fight goes down. And is Zarya just stuck here on her own? Are they just caging in Zarya? Zarya's in a cage!
Yeah, they're just keeping her there. They don't need to kill her just yet. They're just going to wait, stall out the respawns. And that's an extra 10 seconds, Bort. And there's only like 50 left on the clock. You do not get long to attack on this point. So, bad news bears there. And Volataja, again, his positioning was impeccable. They managed to take out the 2 people on the team that could actually move vertically. And he could just stand up there and just freely shell down onto Ayuki. Managed to take out the Zenyatta there nice and early as well. So, good positioning from Volataja. Easy support there. And Mort as well has just been impeccable. Just hiding away, making sure that he's retreating nice and cleanly. Fantasy, though, jumping in. Can EndPoint do something here?
This is the last opportunity right now. Frygam holding on to that grab time. Blizz able to take out Volataja early on. They have gotten rid of the threat. Here comes D.Va Explosion, though, on the point. Will make some space. REUNITED, though, on the ropes. This fight is not going well for them. A triple kill here thus far coming out, and Graviton might seal this fight. Frygam gets the double towards the very end, and everything going the way of EndPoint.
Yeah, there is a silver lining here for REUNITED where they had to use a huge amount of ultimates here, and looks like they might be trying to reinforce it as well. Like Volataja swapping onto the Tracer, just trying to get back onto the point, buying some extra time, dancing, juking, dodging, does go down. Unfortunately, Winston a little bit too reliable there, and Zenyatta just lands one of those also destruction right and puts an end to that nonsense. And Cruz has to be a bit careful here. He doesn't get caught out here. She just speed boost away and be nice and safe. But they really don't have many resources coming into the next fight. Swoosh is going to be ready with the Dragon Blade, and Fantasy is going to be ready with the Gorilla Roll. But that's not going to be enough to really to stop someone like Kib just opening up the enemy team. And Kib is just going really aggressive here. He's been playing super aggro on this team as well. He's playing with zero fear.
All right, so take a look at EndPoint right now. EndPoint moving things forward at the moment. Not a whole lot of time left for them right now. Swoosh does have Dragon Blade at the ready. That's going to be it. Kib, though, Dragon Blade of his own. This Fantasy able to take on Fixer a lot. 2 quick kills here for the side of EndPoint as they move forward. 3, in fact, and Kib might not even get a chance to do Dragon Blade here. Not a whole lot left. He might try and go hero mode, but he is awfully outgunned. Yeah,
I imagine he's just going to try and stall for as long as possible and just go down. There's an interesting thing that REUNITED have been doing lately. Like you saw Unfixed on the Reaper there, they have been trying to run this one tank lineup a little bit more often. He's swapped now onto the Zarya, and I like this a little bit more. I think it just makes everyone so much more safe. Like Zarya just gives people a lot more space to play around with. Those bubbles are so important, and the ultimate is so vital as well for just getting clean teamfight wins. In my mind, he's probably the most overpowered hero in the game and probably the most important one in the game, but that could just be me. Still, REUNITED could try and force something here. It looks like they're ready to go.
Sunbear coming in here, REUNITED leading the way. Kib, Dragon Blade at the right. Fantasy though was able to pick off Voltaja awfully early in this fight. They're down that big gun. A lot more pressure here on Kib as Swoosh into the back line, takes out 2. Kib though, late Dragon Blade to the fight. Into the back, going to eat the Earth Shatter. Down he goes. And EndPoint now making it happen as they move forward. They get the pickoffs that they need. They're going to cap second, and they have a chance to actually finish out this map now.
Yeah, they're actually in a really good position to take this all the way. Like, this is actually looking really good for EndPoint. I was expecting, like, I'm not gonna lie, going into this I was expecting REUNITED to really do well here, but they're getting pulled apart and they're not getting the value they need. And Blizzip, where they just, yeah, Blizz than Blizz, because that's so much easier, managed to land the better Earthshatter there, just stop Kib from getting any value out of that. Earthshatter's such a strong counter here to the Dragon Blade, and Kib again going in deep but can't really find much value on it. They're just pushing him right back out. So Kib having a little bit of trouble. Just missed the hook as well from Fantasy there, so close. But the team's just jockeying for position on this corner, still waiting for an opportunity. Mort is ready to go with Transcendence, so this should save them from anything too untoward, and Unfixed might be ready to go.
Unfixed right now does move in. Graviton is at the ready. 4 people in that Graviton, but it's not going to be enough. Blizzip turning up the turnaround here, does take out 2. Has an Earthshatter, might not even use it. An EndPoint right now. Actually bring it to REUNITED. REUNITED though, Unfixed still alive here. Versus the world at 100 charge, not going to be enough, and I don't know, this is going from bad to worse right now for REUNITED. A bit of a collapse in progress at the moment.
Yeah, EndPoint are pushing it all the way. They have some good resources for the next fight as well. They have Transcendence ready to go. They have Earthshatter as well to put a stop to any too hard engages. It looks like they're just pulling back now, just taking it easy, taking it safe. Winghaven's also going to be up and running for the next fight. But honestly, I still say momentum's definitely in EndPoint's favor here as they're going to try and push forward. Unfortunately, Fantasy just doesn't land the hook. If Valataja gets an early pick on him, this might be REUNITED's chance to open up some space again.
Voltaja was getting picked off early in several fights here. Gets the early pick up here on set, and Winghaven with the Earthshatter knocks down 4, rolls right in. That is a quad kill for Winghaven, and REUNITED desperately needed that to regain their footing here. And now, time-wise, because of how much time they bought at least earlier on in the map, this is going to be the last push coming out from EndPoint.
Yeah, Winghaven, that was a knife edge. Oh my god, he was on the verge of getting charged, just managed to land it right before it connected and just took out everyone, stopped that entire fight. Winghaven, MVP. If that's not player of the game and it goes to a Mercy later, I'm going to be so sad because that was amazing out of Winghaven. Really well played there. Kib sitting up on the high ground now, looking for a flank, dropping down into the back, will just Wraithform out nice and safely as Reaper is often want to do. Winghaven just going to tuck him behind a barrier there, nice and safe. Swoosh goes in, fight's joined.
And here comes REUNITED. Soundbearer going to power them up as they move in. They run right into that Transcendent Swoosh. Dragon Blade not getting too much, and no! They still have people alive. They weren't able to stay on the point to keep things in progress. Bit of a misplay there by EndPoint at the very end. Who knows if they would have won the fight, but at the very least, they could have forced a little bit more of an overtime.
Yeah, you never want to lose sight of that objective, of course. It is the most important thing to making sure you win. If you lose sight of it, then, hey, yeah, it doesn't matter how good the team fight setup was, how good the approach was. If the game ends, the game ends. GG, no re. Well, there's a re coming up. But yeah, I'm going to be curious to see how much better REUNITED can do on the offensive here. How are they going to run this attack as well? It looks like Unfixed is early locked in the D.Va. I'm going to be curious to see if that definitely stays in. If they're running D.Va and Winston, for example, wouldn't be too surprised to see that, and then just jump in onto the higher ground and make life hell for EndPoint.
Double dive, pretty common here on Numbani. We don't see it quite as often as we did in the past. A lot of teams opt to do, say, D.Va, Reinhardt, switch it up a bit, but you take a look at Winghaven Unfixed, it does look like that double tank combo of dive-in will be a thing. And looks like other than that, pretty standard command from Reunited. Cruz on Lucio, Morte on Zen, Valu on the Tracer, and Kib very likely to be on a Genji here.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to see him on anything else for this point. I'm going to be curious to see also how EndPoint manage their defense. What angle do Reunited take? I wouldn't be surprised to see them go around the outer balcony. That's where most of the higher tier teams seem to be opting to attack. Just opting against this sort of where EndPoint have set up right now, just because it's a little bit of a meat grinder. It's kind of hard to brute force your way out there. And it looks like they're not even setting up a crossfire here. They're just having everyone on this middle platform. So in danger of just getting massively engaged on, like, Reunited are just going to jump on that super hard. I'm going to be interested to see if Ayuki can survive, for example, that initial onslaught as they launch in super aggro. Gates are almost ready to open.
Alrighty, so we'll see just what Reunited has up their sleeves here, but what you can expect here is, effectively, it's a double dive on the tank side, but it's going to be a triple dive in actuality, because Kib will be joining Winghaven unfixed in all likelihood, and the person that's really in danger here is going to be Swoosh up McCree, one of the biggest targets here. They'll go for McCree or one of the supports, anything that they can get on that's squishy and has a hard time getting away, as Volataja already making his way to the back, so Volataja might be joining in here with Kib, Winghaven unfixed.
Yeah, Kib just going forward, scouting out where they are, and there's the engagement going right in for it.
They roll right in. Winghaven leaned away. Cruz bites the dust pretty early here. Hook was able to take him out, but you look at the Swoosh under assault. He is the main target, and he will go down. Winghaven finishing it out. Kib in trouble. Does get hooked down. In Fantasy right now, taking out two key players to start this out. Gets the third, and the Roadhog defense going to hold firm here for EndPoint.
Yeah, this is the fantasy that they wanted. They managed to get an early pick on Lucio. That removes so much speed, so much engagement, so much healing from the team as they try and go in. So Fantasy definitely sort of, earning his salt today. That was absolutely well played by him. Well held as well. Good cleanup coming out of Ayuki in the backline. Just that Zenyatta cleanup, man, is so strong these days. Zenyatta is definitely getting better at doing that. As Kib just lays in a little bit more poke, but they're almost ready to go. Winghaven's going to be ready with the Primal Rage. Kib is also going to open up so much space as he jumps in, and here we go.
Primal Rage is actually really scary here on this point, too, because you can knock people off the ledge. She's going for it right now. Zarya, is she going for the ride? No, she's able to maintain her footing here, but still, it's enough of a distraction for Winghaven. Able to make room for the rest of his team. Kib gets a double kill with the Dragon Blade in the middle of that distraction, and that is going to be Reunited taking that point. I was hoping that someone would go flying off the ledge. Did not happen, though.
So close on Zarya. I was watching with bated breath, but no, just manages to sort of nudge back in. Kib going super aggro, as you've seen Kib do all game so far. Kib's just been playing sort of solo 1 versus 6 on the front line for absolutely ages in pretty much every stage of this map so far. Just poking away nice and safe. It'd be tragic if he goes down though, but there's not really too much to put pressure on him aside from, Freak Zenyatta hit landing, for example.
It sort of brings back memories of the good old days where you had a double orb comp where you see a Genji with a perma orb on him just in the back line forever. Genjis can still harass the back line, but it comes at more of a cost. But here comes the defense. They're rolling right in. Highly aggressive, fueled by the sound barrier. They get no kills off to start things out. Swoosh now in some trouble. Volataja, though, dives right in, is punished. First kill here to the defense, but Transcendence is out. Graviton is out, and here comes Swoosh. Deadeye on the way. Skull's coming up, but it's not enough. Kib, Dragon Blade into the back. Not going to get what he's looking for as Fantasy. Once more, able to be the rock of this defense, and aggressiveness paying off.
Yeah, they managed to sort of just pull them in there. Mort had to dash in at sort of the last moment to try and get in position to get the Transcendence out, and then that just left Fragum open to drop the Graviton Surge to pick up the rest of the team and leave it for an easy cleanup with Fantasy. Like, that Roadhog can deal so much damage into that. It's just the easiest time ever. Unfortunately, Blizz didn't get too much out of his Earth Shadow, but they didn't even need it. They just managed to pull Reunited in, suck them in, and then hold them down for Fantasy to just deal so much damage and clean up. Really well done there. Still, they're losing ground here, just edging forward, setting up for the next fight. Cruz is, of course, ready with the Sound Barrier, so it looks like Reunited ready to try and force the issue a little bit.
Fantasy right now looking for those hooks, not able to connect them while that's going on. Volataja does get one here with the Deadeye, is moving forward, rushing down this Roadhog, has to be careful, dodges the hook, and now Roadhog in deep trouble. This is where he will potentially get DPS down, has to pull the whole hog here, will take out Winghaven, and he's actually still alive with the aid of Zarya, but Volataja in hot pursuit on the flank should be able to get some serious cleanup.
And somewhere Bromas from Dignitas is smiling, because Unfixed has brought out everyone's old friend, everyone's favorite, salty dad. That is Soldier 76. He's just run forward, dealing so much damage. He was on the higher ground, shelling away where Soldier 76 just loves to be. So again, running a one-tank lineup out of Reunited. They've been trying to do this more and more, I've noticed. And it seems to be working here right now. They're setting a good time as well. They've got a huge amount of space to play with. They just need to make sure this next engage goes in their favor. And with Kib with a Dragon Blade ready, it could be good.
Kib right now is going to be waiting to get into the back line, waiting for his opportunity. Here he goes, gets high into the air, Dragon Blade out, runs right into McCree. Zarya's shield stymieing him, not quite getting what he's looking for. Will have to put the blade away here, ends up getting hooked. A CC-laden experience there for Kib. Does finally take out Ayuki, gets 2 kills. Who needs the Dragon Blade up anyways?
Yeah, who needs a Dragon Blade when you have Winghaven? Jesus, Winghaven lands the Earthshadow. It saves this fight, basically puts 2 people down, lets Kib get some easy cleanup. This should be a cleanup for Reunited, and they should be able to push it all the way to the end here. Looks really good for EndPoint on that offensive, though. Holy moly, that was so much better than we were expecting. Kib already has another... Oh, no, sorry, that was Swoosh's Dragon Blade. No, that was both. Kib, Jesus, that guy. So much damage.
The key thing there for Kib is that Kib was able to pull it back after what was a really rough beginning. I mean, he got flashbanged, he got hooked, I think he even got earth shattered in the middle of that, and still was able to get the kills he was looking for there. But still, not a bad showing for EndPoint. They did keep it close for a while. Reunited, though, just a cut above, will be going up 1 map to start out the series.
Yeah, it is a best of 5, so there's still plenty of time to play for. Oh, yes! Thank you! Well, there's no mercy in this map, so yeah.
I know, but still, like...
That was
still
so
worth noting.
Like, the Zarya barrier was on the Reinhardt as well, trying to charge him, and it just dropped, I guess, at the wrong moment. Earthshadow lands, and that saves that fight for Reunited. That was such a good Earthshadow. That was really, really nice. Kib, 26% of the team's damage. Oh, Kib's, like, he's just a top-tier player. I can't sing his praise enough, and I can't be any more salty that he isn't playing on Team GB. God damn it, Kib.
Oh, man. Yeah, because he is from the UK, and yeah, it's those things that happens. But we are going to be getting into the second map here in just a moment. It will be the choice of EndPoint. One thing you mentioned, though, in the last map that I thought was pretty interesting, just as a general rule, Dignitas has been having a lot of troubles in the last meta. I think part of that was the fact that 76 went out of it. Bromos was a great 76, and then now that 76 wasn't really available for him to play, I feel like Dignitas had a huge drop-off as they tried to rearrange everything to go around the idea that Bromos now had to play McCree or something in response, which honestly I don't think worked out as well as our tier being on McCree. With the 76 change, it's going to be interesting to see if Bromos can bring that back once more. I'm not sure 76 is quite there. There's mixed feelings on whether or not he got buffed, nerfed, or it's just different, but I guess we'll have to see. I have seen war teams pull out 76, so it could be a thing for Bromos and Dignitas.
He's definitely better than he was, I think. It's, well, at least in the last patch. At least that's what I think. And yeah, like Dignitas' situation, I was sat in a call with Lynx for a little bit, and it was just a case of like, why aren't you playing Genji? Like Lynx, again, it's like Kib. Lynx is one of these players that if Dignitas is struggling, I look to Lynx and say, Lynx, what are you going to do about it? Like, Lynx has the quality to do that and pull that out and sort of carry the team. And so if he's not playing Genji, something's horribly wrong. And he was playing Zarya for a while, and he's like a competent Zarya, but you want that guy in a position he can carry from. And they were just swapping everyone around. And it just felt really disorganized. And as a result, Dignitas didn't have 2 great results. So yeah, I hope they get that sorted out, because EU right now, the top tier of EU is looking absolutely stacked. We've got about 6 really solid teams that can all take matches off each other.
And one thing that actually helps a lot, and no hate on them for this being the case, of course, but totally is a thing right now, is that Rogue is not the most consistent of teams. They do really well at LAN. They seem to be consistent, at least in that regard, but overall, Rogue, they're not an Envious type, where Envious has a full lockdown on NA in a lot of cases. Rogue has their ups and downs, but that makes tournaments exciting, where you don't go in going, oh boy, another tournament, I guess Rogue is going to get #1. No, it's not that case at all, where of course Rogue versus Reunited just the other day, super close, came down to the wire, and it makes the EU comp, I think, a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, it also makes it super competitive, makes sure these teams are getting better and better and better. I know before the Overwatch Atlantic, I was saying that MVS, you know, it's up to MVS to just walk in there and win it, and we saw what happened to MVS there. And Cruz said to me before, you know, I was doing a podcast, and Cruz just messaged me and said, you know, I don't think MVS are going to go all the way. Like, we see them play North American teams all the time, but against the top tier of EU on LAN, things will be different. And what do you know, things were a little bit different. Now, I still think that MVS were the shoe-in favorite there. I think that Cruz was still a little bit ahead of himself, but his prediction came true. Still, I know you said that, you know, we can't be shooing that Rogue are going to finish first, but one thing we can be shooing for is that Reunited are probably going to finish second. Yeah,
Reunited is awfully consistent at finishing second in tournaments. It's one of those things where I really do hope they get over that and rack up at least a few extra first place finishes, just because, I mean, for them it has to be frustrating. It's like, we're playing well enough to always get second in a rapidly evolving environment, and then you get to the grand finals and just terrible things happen. It's classic Reunited.
Yeah, it's sad days, and like I said, I definitely recommend going and watching the Rogue versus Reunited match on Gosu18 because that was super exciting to watch, and like watching Reunited and go up against top tier EU teams is really cool, and watching more EU teams sort of bubble up as well. Like EndPoint put on a really good offensive on Numbani. I'm curious to see if they can pull it off here. I'm going to be interested to see how they're going to run it as well. Looks like they're bringing the Hog. I'm surprised to see no Winston as well. Like Winston is generally considered pivotal to a lot of the engages here. You want to go hard with Winston, but it looks like they're just instead going to run it slow, push forward and grind forth, try and get maybe a pick or two with Hanzo, try and see what they can find with the Hanzo. It looks like, yep, they're running it. They're not swapping him either, so they're just going to grind forward, try and break down whatever barriers are in their way and kill forward. But I think Kib's going to have a lot to say about that on this Reaper.
Kib, absolutely difference maker. One of the better Reapers in the game, too. I'd say in terms of Reapers, what I think we good with, Kib comes up there, Bud's perhaps above many, but here comes Reunited. They roll right in, and they get 2 quick kills. Nothing flashy about that. They just thought they had an opportunity. They punish immediately, and Swoosh not able to get too much done here on this Hanzo to start things out.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Hanzo to do much if he's not given any space to sort of just try and spam a few arrows in and land a little bit of extra poke damage that Hanzo is so well known for. The fully intentional corner arrow, as I like to call it. But yeah, like Reunited just took initiative, just engaged Discord orb on the right target, and Kib just ran in and blended that target, more putting the Discord right where it needs to be. And it looks like they're just not going to let go of this pressure either. They're engaging on this choke point.
They're moving right in, and I don't know, but the Reunited's being awfully aggressive here. It worked out the first fight. I'm not so sure about the second. Kib actually gets picked off from that. Now a big 65 opportunity coming in here from the offensive endpoint. They can break this game wide open, but here comes Voltaja, Deadeye at the ready. Remember, he must commit to it. There is no refunds here, but the Dragon comes in, eats Winghaven, and endpoint is going to continue laying on the pressure here. And again, I think this just came from Kib being a little bit too far up, and it was as a result of Reunited as a whole just being a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, Kib went right in and just got stuck, basically got flashbang and killed off right in the back line, and then Winghaven jumped, not Winghaven, Unfixed jumped in on his own on the Winston, and you can normally do that if you have a Zarya there to support you. Oh my god, Fantasy landing the hooks as well.
Fantasy's had a really good game when it comes to Roadhog Hook. Soundbarrier coming out really late here for Reunited. We should have a Zoomyata coming out here on EndPoint soon. We'll see if it's enough. Unfixed certainly doing a little bit of stall here on Winston, doing his best awesome guy impression from last night. But Fantasy laying in the cleanup, gets 2 kills, 1 right click, 1 hook kill. And Reunited, despite trying to stall this out, not going to be successful. They're going to have to go to the streets phase.
Yeah, Fantasy playing super well at the moment, getting so much value off this Roadhog. Trying to hunt down Kib. Kib manages to just Wraith form out of the way. Will trying to escape. Is still getting hunted down a little bit, but I think Will manage to get back to the rest of his team as they do try and seize initiative onto this street space. You normally see a couple of changes up coming up here as high ground becomes so much more important, but it looks like both teams just opting to run this low ground comp. It looks like Winghaven jumping in, trying to just push Swoosh back. Of course, the Hanzo does vanish in replace for the Genji. It looks like Reunited ready to just hold this choke point, though. They're looking to hold the corner.
Voltaja right now coming up here with the Deadeye, does not get a chance to pull the trigger there. And Reunited again, they're taking the fight right to the offense, but they lose Kib early once more. This could be rough. Winghaven at least is able to fire back here onto the Reinhardt. And Reunited, they're pushing so far in. I don't think they have as big of an advantage as they think right now. But the Earth Shatter from Winghaven, changing minds, does knock down 4. They get no kills as a result of Transcendence. And now, EndPoint has an opportunity to turn this right back on them. Swoosh, Dragon Blade at the ready.
Yeah, they managed to sort of burn out all the ultimates value. Fires off Deadeye, isn't quite finding a target just yet, but I think he's looking for Fantasy. Can he find it? More! Gets hooked and actually gets caught in some geometry, so doesn't actually get pulled all the way in. The Swoosh coming in with a Dragon Blade. What can Swoosh find here as the rest of the fight is cleaned up? They didn't even need the Dragon Blade. Fantasy dealing so much damage. Will clean up Morton the backline there with it. But holy moly, it looks like EndPoint are actually taking initiative. And Kib stuck on his own once again, trying to get some value, but will just go down.
I feel like Reunited is being their own worst enemy here. That was another fight that started off on the back foot because Kib was too far up and got picked off. And again, I don't think this is a Kib is playing too far up. I think the shot call for Reunited is get in their faces.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like they're not showing EndPoint as much respect as they should here. We'll see how this next fight goes. They do have Sound Barrier in to Death Blossom. Kib, of course, pretty good at setting this up, and he's going to go around the flank. Death Blossom should be underway here in just a moment.
Unfixed all the way in the backline, caught out on his own, will go down to Fantasy as well. Just so much damage going in there. Winghaven actually does manage to land the charge, and there goes Cruz with the Sound Barrier. So it looks like battle's joined, but EndPoint still have momentum.
Yep, Kib right now rolling to the back, does have Death Blossom at the ready, moving right in. Voltaja actually getting most of the cleanup here in the back. Kib gonna hold this Death Blossom here for another fight in all likelihood as Voltaja completes the 3K. And Reunited able to fight that back, but again, they lost Unfixed awfully early in that fight. That could have went easily the other way if not for some rogues from Voltaja. I just wonder if this is a little bit too ham coming out from Reunited.
Yeah, I think Unfix just needs to rein it in a tiny bit. He is creating a huge amount of space, though, and that did allow Kib to get into the backline and do the damage that he's been looking to do this entire time. Kib now in a very good position as well for the upcoming fight. Swoosh jumps up and over, doesn't quite eat a shotgun blast to the face, unfortunately still won't go down quite yet, and looks like they're ready to force the issue once more. Kib goes in.
Kib goes in, gets one with the Death Blossom, does all sorts of damage to the backline. This is going to allow Voltaja to eat well in the back, laying in the damage of all those highly damaged people, and that is going to be a full team wipe from REUNITED. And that was a much better defense. They waited a little bit, had dropped in from a much better angle, and didn't feel like they forced their way in from the ground floor like they were doing multiple times here in this game. I think perhaps REUNITED tightening up the gameplay just a little bit.
Yeah, that felt like a lot cleaner, much more precise engage. Winghaven and Kib going in at the same time. Kib getting all the space he needed to deal so much damage with that Death Blossom. They still have a lot in the tank as well. Like they have Mort ready to go, they have Valley ready to go on the Tracer with a Pulse Bomb in the backline, and Winghaven, of course, so pivotal with these Earthshadows so far. That said, EndPoint are also set up well for this next fight, so we're going to have an ultimate showdown here as Unfix jumps in.
Showdown is going to be in the right frag and holding onto his Graviton. Pretty patient with it as we've seen. Soundbarrier comes out here from the offense, and here comes Swoosh. Dragon Blade at the ready, piling in onto that Graviton. 2, 3 kills! Sword and Hammer combined into that Graviton to take out 4 members of REUNITED. They should not be coming back from this as Fantasy able to finish up Voltaja. That was the team fight that they needed.
Yeah, that's absolutely what they needed. And Winghaven dropped the Earth Shatter as well right at the end. It was a beautiful Earth Shatter. He got 4 people, but everyone was already dead. So, of course, there's not too much value coming out of the back of that. Fantasy now just using the Deadeye just to zone out. Of course, you don't get the 50% back that you used to. That was utterly absurd. I'm so glad that that's gone from the game. But it's just going to buy the team enough time and space to maybe get all the way here. But it looks like Pulse Bomb's coming in.
Voltaja not like this. Blew himself up for no benefit. And will this be the opportunity EndPoint needs to bring this forward? Winghaven, though, was able to get some good WMS1 action, took out 2, including Genji. Earthshatter comes in late from Blip, does knock down 2, but he's awfully low, still able to get the fall through. 3 kills here from EndPoint, and Ayuki and Blizz able to do what they were looking for there, and we'll see if REUNITED can delay it much more, but it is looking like second point will be capped.
Yeah, they have bought themselves a lot of time here, so I imagine they're looking to just stall out this last point as much as possible as well. Kib, oh no, the bad spawn as well for most of REUNITED, so they are stuck in this courtyard. Kib goes down early as well, so what happens there is very simple. You just spawn in the previous spawn point, and you've got to try and run back, but of course that means running in front of the enemy team. It's such a vulnerable period. Leaves you so open to get picks and get kills, and Kib's now down, so well, you've lost the primary damage dealer. You can't fight anymore, you've just got to back up and wait.
Well, for the next fight here, the defense is going to be Dragon Blade versus Sound Barrier, supported by a Transcendent. So, bit of an advantage here to the offense, but REUNITED, I think they're going to go right in. Cruz going to drop the beat here in just a moment, waiting to the last moment, and they actually hold off, and maybe it's good that they did.
Yeah, they're just stalling out a little bit right now. Kib is almost ready to go as well. That's going to be absolutely vital for this next coming fight, just to have that extra little bit of damage. It looks like they're going in, though.
Sound Barrier is in. Winghaven looking for his opportunity to drop the Earth Shatter. Voltaja winning that fight versus Fantasy. 5v5 right now. Swoosh still in the back line. Was able to take out 2. Looking for a little bit more. Winghaven, if you're going to drop an Earth Shatter, you got to do it soon. Your team is dying all around him. And here comes Sound Barrier from the offense as they feel they have an opportunity, and they almost certainly do.
Yeah, this is looking actually pretty good right now. There's a lot of stalling on the point. We're seeing these Winstons getting so much better at stalling, just jumping in the air over and over. It looks like finally getting chased off the point there as Fantasy does clean up. Kib again dancing around the high ground, dealing a lot of damage. He's in danger of getting chased down there, but no, will just Wraith form away, of course. Reaper, a fairly safe pick now. Reapers have definitely gotten better at engaging and disengaging, knowing their limits a lot more. And Kib's actually in a good position here for a Death Blossom. He's going to jump in the back.
Kib dropping right down, takes out 2, ends up dying, but damage has been done. Meanwhile, more time to the point. Transcendence is out right now, keeping his team alive. Going in for Swoosh. Swoosh eating shot after shot, almost goes down to that foot. Still alive here in the back. Is going to get healed by Zarya, but will finally fall. And REUNITED will be defending their last point. Not a bad push by EndPoint towards the end, although I do wonder a little bit there how much REUNITED kind of let them into that just by maybe pushing the envelope a little bit too much.
Yeah, like they had a really good first fight, managed to push out a lot of space, and then the second fight they just got a little bit too greedy, and Kib got stuck in a bad position, went down early. You lose so much damage, and you're in danger of just losing a ton of momentum. But I think this is like most payload mats that we've seen today have ended literally right in front of the parking spot. Like that is some terrible parking. Oh my god, the gold box it's not even touching the VIP parking space. Good lord, EndPoint. It's disastrous.
Look, maybe it's not terrible parking. Maybe they just didn't fill it with gas. Maybe he's going so slow because he's just trying to conserve gas mileage there. You never know. Maybe the world of Overwatch is in an energy crisis. But I guess one interesting thing for Reunited there is that maybe after watching things like LW Red and all the rest, they might have just been experimenting with a new form of bend but don't break defense that really stalls things out. The one downside there for the offensive endpoint is that even though they were winning fights, it did take them quite a while to actually clean out Reunited, even as they were winning the fight. So, I mean, it's hard to say how much was Reunited just maybe overestimating themselves and how much was Reunited trying to go for new forms of defense that really don't care about winning the fight as much as stalling things out. So, I mean, it could be a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I'm just staring at the picks right here because I'm seeing Mort running Ana, and yet they're not setting up for a nip comp, so they could just be running a heal comp using Ana on the offensive. And if they're going to be using Ana, then what you're going to see them is just push forward slowly, try and absorb as much damage as possible. Winghaven's going to be a little bit slower on the barrier, and they're just going to soak up a little bit of damage that Mort get the ultimate ready to go, and then engage super, super hard. So it's going to be curious to see if they can deal with that nano boost. If they do run this, of course, they still have 15 seconds to change. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. Like, I like watching Ana comps. I know people don't like playing against them necessarily, but they're super exciting to watch.
Alrighty, so take a look here at the defense. As I said, it's going to be Swoosh here on the McCree, Musashi on Lucio, Yuki on Zenyatta, Frygem on Zarya, Blizzbip on Reinhardt, and Fantasy going to round things out here on the Reaper.
Yep, and they just will start pushing forward. And you see Winghaven not running with the barrier up, just absorbing some Zarya strength, but they're just taking this poke damage just to get that healing down for the Ana, almost ready to go. Well, 33% building fast, though. That will go up so quickly as Kib is chased back. But it looks like EndPoint Maxing might be trying to force the issue. They will just retreat backwards wisely, so Crew's pulling the team back, using that speed boost to buy them a little bit more space, just dancing back and forth. Mort is almost ready to go. Engagement's going to happen any second now.
All right, so Reunited, they're taking their time, but the nano boost is out, and they're moving right in. Unfix able to take up Blizzip early on this fight. Winghaven, W mouse wanting, takes down Swoosh. It is back and forth, but Reunited starting to turn this in their favor. Unfix doing all sorts of work here on this area, and that's going to be it. Reunited going to take point A with a whole lot of speed.
Yeah, so that is the textbook Ana push. You buy time, you wait for the Ana ult to come up, and then you just fire it, you put it on your tank, and he just runs in and causes so many problems. And unfortunately, the Lucio and the McCree both got sort of caught together, getting battered around by that massive hammer as well. McCree goes down, you got nothing to really stop the momentum either afterwards, so it's bad news bears. Fantasy now taking the high ground, though. He's already in position on this Reaper, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can manage with that. But Mort actually lands so much damage with Kib and actually takes down Blizz. That's actually a massive loss in this next fight. Not having the Reinhardt barrier in front of you makes it so much harder to deal poke damage, makes it so much harder to engage. And now he's stuck as well. He's going to have to try and make his slow path to the high ground. It looks like EndPoint is just going to try and force it.
Kib right now looking to clear off that high ground. Dragonblade on the way, is able to take out two with that final slash. Landed right in from the top rope, dashes right in off the reset, and Reunited is rolling right now. They are setting this with plenty of time, and remember, all they have to do here is finish out the map to win this. They don't have to worry about time or anything like that, as the time bank for the side of EndPoint is fully drained.
Yeah, it's so nice not to have to worry about setting stopwatches and rolling your own timers and trying to calculate it in your head. How much time do they have? No, they just have to make it all the way to the end. Swoosh with a Jedi, but no! Winghaven stops it.
Earth Shatter comes in, able to take out Musashi right away here. Again, this is just Reunited chaining depth after depth. The defensive endpoint has not been able to reestablish, and here comes Winghaven. Full W mouse one, boosted by Morte, swinging the hammer, making all sorts of space. Voltage is there in the cleanup, and this is just going from bad to worse right now for EndPoint. Nothing really going their way. They're not going to be able to defend second, and they're going to have to hold last here for, what, 6 minutes? Something similar? 5.5 minutes. And that is not an easy task in the least.
Danger. They've spawned in the bad location. Fantasy actually gets hit by a sleep dart as well, so could get caught out here. Winghaven lands the charge, but Zarya barrier in the way. Winghaven actually now caught on his own right in front of the enemy team, just barriering back, but will get knocked out. Is just kept alive by this Ana healing it so much, and he actually gets a kill on the Lucio. So Reunited actually getting value out of that, managed to get rid of their Lucio, and now it's danger because you cannot disengage reliably if you lack that Lucio. If they speed boost into you, you cannot speed boost out. So once they start closing in, it could be dangerous. But I think they're just going to take the time right now as Kib once again takes that front line position and just starts poking away, getting ready for the next fight.
All right, so Frygem right now does have an opportunity to turn this in his favor. Does have Graviton Surge at the ready. Is going to do Graviton. Fantasy was not able to get much off of Death Blossom. Voltage moving in. The Graviton not really connecting here just yet, but in the end, Blizzip is able to take out Voltage. It's 4v4 right now. Has Earth Shatter at the ready. Could drop it here at a moment's notice, but is starting to get outgunned as Reunited swarms on the point. Unfixed just knocking everyone back. Great Winston play coming out from Unfixed. And Blizzip on a long charge actually finds Cruz.
he just ramped up the car there and launched into Cruz. I don't think Cruz was expecting Reinhardt to actually launch up the platform there. That said, good news for Reunited is they still have 4 minutes to do this. They have Nano Boost. They have also the Dragon Blade, so we could see the Nano Blade combo coming out as well if they're feeling particularly spicy. Or they could just put it on Winghaven, who's just going to open up a ton of space as well and give Kib all the room he needs to slice and dice like the sushi chef he is. Reunited in a good position right now. Of course, Ayuki could counter a lot of this with the Transcendence, but it looks like EndPoint are going to try and force the issue.
Rush shot coming in here from Blizzard, does knock down 2, and here comes the Dragon Blade from Kib on the other side of things in the backline. Getting stymied here by the Transcendence, still does not care, goes on a swoosh, able to hold it down. And that's going to be another hold here from the side EndPoint, but again, for EndPoint, this is called comfort. Normally, this would be great. They're getting momentum on their side. They're pushing Reunited back. But they have to do this for another 3.5 minutes without losing a single fight. If they lose one team fight here, they're done.
Yeah, and cold comfort as well, because they just spent all their ultimates. Reunited barely spent anything. They did spend the Dragon Blade, but that's not going to be the big deciding factor here. Winghaven with a Nano Boost is, they have no good answer to that right now. So Winghaven's just going to go in and start clobbering everything in the back line.
He's moving in. Nano Boost is on the way. W Mouse 1 once more in action. Takes out Swoosh. They have no answer to the speeding Reinhardt. Voltaja able to make the most of it in the backfield with Unfixed. And this is looking like it will be Reunited's map. They get it to the end. And they are now up 2-0 in the series. 1 map away from getting another group stage victory.
You know, it's kind of what we expected, but like, shout out to Reunited's presence of mind there on that last fight. They could have pulled out of it a little bit better. So those last 2 fights was basically the first fight is a setup for the second fight. Like, that's how you got to think about Overwatch these days. It's not the fight you're in now. It's how you're going to win the next fight. What do you got carrying into the next fight? The ult economy and the momentum that you can carry moving forward, and what's available, what isn't. What did you make them spend? And teams are getting so much better at their strategic element. Of course, Kib, again, no mercies in this game, so we get to see a good play of the game out of Kib, getting a ton of damage done there, just landing all these meaty targets, and Death Blossom away for the victory.
Alrighty, so Reunited, I mean, this is what we expected going in here, but again, I would like to say shoutouts here to EndPoint for making it closer than I expected at points. It's good seeing that we're not getting full-on crazy stomps. I think there was a period in Overwatch where you looked at teams and teams just... It's not that they were losing. They had absolutely no chance. 3-minute completion times across the board. It's still making it interesting, even if one team does have a distinct advantage here.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because like these offensives coming out of EndPoint are going really far, and it wasn't too long ago that the defenders were changed to respawn faster, and that did definitely have an impact on how reliable attacks were. Like, we saw more defenses, we saw matches going longer as a result of that change. So it's good to see that EndPoint are doing so well. It looks like the next map will also be Lijiang, and that could be danger. Like, Reunited's King of the Hill is really good now. Of course, Ilios has sort of become their map at the moment, but holy moly, Kib is going to have a field day. And the way that Kib's been playing, he's been playing really aggressively, but King of the Hill is where you want to play aggressively, where you want to have this free running, death-defying Genji just slashing everything up in the backline. So Reunited, I think, definitely looking good here. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of 100s to 0s. But EndPoint have been surprising us. Fantasy especially playing well. Going to be curious to see what comes out of that.
Yeah, and the problem with Reunited on King of the Hill going up against them is that they really do have a double threat. This is what... I mean, Voltaja is generally solid overall, right? But his Tracer play on King of the Hill actually just perhaps second to none. Able to go off and have just really phenomenally consistent results. And again, let's not focus only on the DPS here, even though it is a big part of the game. You take a look at how Unfixed usually plays. His Winston play, really, really good under most circumstances. Winghaven, of course, is solid as well. And I don't know. We'll see how it works out here.
Like, Cruz on this map with all the pits and the bridges, that guy finds value. Although I do remember Reunited releasing a lot of clips over on their Twitter of Mort actually playing the Lucio and just getting value after value after value as well. So Reunited definitely looking good on this map, especially. If there's any falls around, like, be careful for Cruz.
The cool thing is, too, with Reunited is they do have tank versatility, where a lot of times King of the Hill will be unfixed on the Zarya as opposed to Winston, but on payload maps you'll see unfixed on Winston, or even here, like, they can still mix and match on King of the Hill as they see fit. Both unfixed and Winghaven really, really good at swapping in and around. So either way, it's going to be Reunited coming out here. Lots of threats for them, and Kib actually on the McCree, so no Genji here, going for the McCree. Understandable given some of the changes that have come out recently, and this is sort of what we saw C9 come out with a while back.
Okay, apparently, so yeah, Reunited got a crash, so he's asking for a back to lobby. We'll resolve that in a second, so both teams are agreeing to it. I was confused for a second because I saw, like, what was Kib doing? Kib picked May just as the spawn doors were opening, and then picked McCree, and then REUNITED's engage just didn't look at all like a King of the Hill engage. So that kind of explains what was happening there. Normally you see teams just run in as aggressively as possible. Both monkeys just jump over each other, just put Zarya barriers on each other, and then you just have the sort of the fight erupts from there as teams try and get in on the back line of each other. But man, that was bizarre for a second. I was super confused about what Kib was doing. That's sort of why you heard me exclaim in the background. And so we're going to Control Center instead. And this is actually a vastly different match. Like this map especially, you see a lot of different picks come out here. So it's going to be interesting to see what teams decide to opt for.
You do see switch ups here. This is where Reaper oftentimes comes at a bigger premium. Sometimes you even see a Pharah if teams want to run with it, but just have to see.
Yeah, man, I want to see Envious play. I want to see like if Tailspin brings back the Pharah. Tailspin's Pharah is such a joy. I miss those days.
Good old Tailspin. Or Tailspin, I think you could look back at the Pharah era where I think you can make a pretty strong case that Tailspin had the most dominant Pharah of anyone in the game, and that's including your players like Tavik that had great showings and all the rest. It's part of Envy's dominance in that era where a lot of it came down to who had the better Pharah, how did you support that Pharah? Well, it's really hard to deal with Tailspin on that character, but hey, we'll have to see. I don't think we've seen anything of Envy really since the new patches hit, so... Well, I think what's going on with Envy is that they have something going on where they're dealing with visas, where a lot of people had to go back to their home countries to deal with that. Although that is a problem for Envy if they're not getting in practice time during this period.
Yeah, and it looks like teams are ready to engage, so they're just moving straight onto this middle ground. Wouldn't be surprised to see teams start to force the issue there. Winghaven goes in.
Both teams going in right now. Fantasy looking to get damage on the Winghaven is going to take him out. The A to swoosh, so first kill here to the side of EndPoint. Kib, though, firing right back. A double kill here on McCree. Kib showing that he is multi-talented, not just a Genji main. Fantasy, though, laying in the damage. Not sure it's going to be enough, though. A lot of kills have come out here for REUNITED. They do have momentum, and Volataja is still in and about, darting to the back line, doing all sorts of damage.
Yeah, it was really dicey there for a moment, but Cruz and Mort managing to sort of just stay out of line of sight, stay alive for long enough, and Volataja comes in for the cleanup there. That monkey is not going to last long with a Discord Orb, and the Tracer just drilling him down, so this is going to force him right off the point as REUNITED do go for the take, and we'll have at that point for the first hold. Volataja also ready to go with a pulse smoke or swoosh, also good to go on the other side, but more importantly, Mort 50% ahead of his enemy here. 50% ahead of the enemy's Zenyatta is going to have Transcendence ready, and that could stop any push going forward. And a good bomb comes out of Volataja, but denied by Fragum. Good barrier there.
Yeah, barrier definitely ruining his day. Swoosh comes in, gets a pulse bomb of his own, takes out two. Cruz and Winghaven have bit the dust. Can't be able to take out Fantasy here, but this is going to be a rough fight to bring back here for REUNITED. It's not impossible. We'll see if Morte goes for the Transcendence, but nope, he's going to save it for a better time, and they're just going to stall this out here, and if need be, give up the point. They've certainly gotten a lot of progress and have a lot of ults in their tank for the next fight, but for now, just watch them stall it out.
Well, REUNITED just went straight back into it. Winghaven jumped onto the point and went down immediately as well. So Volataja tried to stall it out for as long as possible. I mean, it bought themselves another couple of percentage points here on the scoreboard, but they are now forced to be back. That said, they're going to have an ultimate showdown coming up. It's both teams pretty much firing on all cylinders right now. 6 ultimates per side. Zip jumps in. He's a little bit exposed here.
Take a look here. There's 5 ultimates up here for the defense. They are ready to go. Soundbearer coming out here early on. And REUNITED might just eat this here, going, okay, burn your ultimates. We'll go from there. Although they didn't have to burn much. They just burned Soundbearer, and they might be taking off that. So good old economy right now coming out from EndPoint.
Yep, Sound Barrier and the Primal Raid's gone, so there's a big space opener just removed, but losing one of those defensive ultimates could be huge. Right now, you know, he's just going to try and bait out the next one, maybe try and get
rid. Comes in, here comes the bomb from Volataja, takes out Fragum. Good start to fight here, take out the Zarya, but Swoosh on the counter, takes out 2 of his own. Swoosh really has been having quite a good game, but we'll take a look at Kib in the back line, is under assault, really low. Blizzup able to take him out, and it's looking like EndPoint in a better position to take this fight. They're going to win the ultimate showdown.
Yeah, EndPoint actually not falling into the trap there. I imagine Unfixed dropped that Graviton Surge just to try and pull out the Transcendence, but Yuki just held onto it. He just stalled out for a little bit longer and then managed to fire it off later in the fight. That gave them all enough health just to create an opening and push forward and take the entire battle. Looks like REUNITED once more, though, ready to go.
REUNITED coming in with the Soundbearer. Volataja get die early on, not before taking out Zen. It was a double kill for both of them there, each taking out the other. 5v5 here on the point. Let's take a look at Swoosh. Swoosh still in and darting around, looking for pickoffs to start this out, and not able to get it as his team is dying around him. He is getting poked back, and Winghaven creating all sorts of space right now on this Winston.
Yeah, Reunited are just positioning a little bit better. They have both their supports alive, so of course they just have a little bit more healing. They can just take this fight a little bit slower. The bomb comes in, takes out Winghaven, but that's too little too late. Unfortunately, the point is already going to be flipped. As Swoosh just jumps in, but he's not even going to be buying time anymore. He's just going to go down a little bit later than the rest of his team. Mort ready to go with Transcendence, however, so that's going to be huge in the next coming fight. But Musashi going to be important here for the next engage as well with that sound barrier. What can they find? What opening can they find? But Unfixed is in a really good position here to stall out the next push as well. Graviton side, and everyone's going to be pulling through a choke.
And the Graviton is in, pulls in 5 to start this out. Here comes the pulse from Voltage, immediately dispatches Zen. Morte and Winghaven there at the follow through, and that Graviton has done its duty. Reunited is going to hold there. But again, though, this has been a good showing by EndPoint. They're still up. They are going to have about 2 more cracks at this point. They're going to have Sound Barrier in the Death Blossom for the next fight, too. So they have a real shot of turning this in their favor and taking first blood here on Lijiang.
Yeah, EndPoint did a good job there of just not blowing anything there. That fight was lost. They just didn't need to blow any ultimates, just keep what they needed, and then just push in on this next one where there's no Graviton, so stopping them, engage hard like they are right now.
Death Blossom coming here with the Sound Barrier. They do take out Infix early on, do a lot of damage to the Winston in the process. Reunited, though, counter Sound Barrier of their own. It's still 5v6. Voltage in the back, looking for Ayuki, trying to isolate the Zen. Forces out the Zen. Here comes the Graviton. I'm not sure they got anyone in that here, though. Reunited being awfully resilient here in this ult fight where they were a bit at a disadvantage. Pulse Bomb comes on. Morte firing right back, and as Reunited still has a real chance of turning this fight and holding on.
Yuki's actually playing so impressively right now. He's so patient with the Transcendences, and he's getting a huge amounts of value out of them. He's just holding on to them for a little bit longer than I think Reunited are expecting. And as a result, the fights are dragging on that much longer, and Kib just got 0 value there out of a Death Blossom, for example. Getting nothing there, but Mort there with the Transcendence might just be enough to clutch this point now for Reunited. It's just 2 people dancing around on the point, but Kib gets a bomb on him, does manage to get Ray Form up in time, so will just soak that lovely.
Swoosh has been absolutely heroic here on this last fight. Has not gotten the kills he's been looking for in the last few moments here, but has been applying pressure, has been staying alive, but finally, Unfixed melts him right down. A charged up Zarya is awfully scary, and Reunited does turn this back in their favor, but not after EndPoint gave them all they could take and more, and EndPoint had a real shot of taking that round.
Yeah, that was really, really nice to see out of EndPoint. Again, I'm going to just highlight Yuki one more time because, you know, it's hard to follow these support ultimates at times in these big chaotic team fights, but he's just holding on for that little bit longer, just finding the right opportunity. He's not panicking, he's not blowing it too early, and he's getting so much out of it. He's just shutting down some of these offensive ultimates coming out of Kib, for example, and when Death Blossom doesn't go off, when it doesn't start sweeping up a lot of kills and just gets into a Transcendence, well, that's 0 value. It's not like you're peeling off a Sound Barrier or something. You're getting nothing for it. And it's just giving us so much extra space. It's really well played here. Good ult economy coming out of EndPoint.
All right, so for EndPoint, at the very least, they know that they're not too far off here on their King of the Hill game. They just need to wait. If they had won one more fight there, they would have taken that. So if they can bring a similar level of effort here on the night market, things are looking good for them, but we'll see if they can do it. Reunited coming out here once more as Voltage right now going right to the back line. Looking at Zen. Zen clearly the target here, but is under assault. Tracer coming in for the backup, has Harmony Orb. Voltage now in trouble. Gonna be difficult for him to win this 1v2, and he needs to back out of there, but he runs right into Fantasy as EndPoint looking like they're gonna take first control.
Yeah, this is like an interesting offensive coming out here from Reunited. They're running like a dive comp. They're trying to get into the backline, but it's just value getting right in there. That said, it's going back and forth right now as Reunited do start to reinforce. They will start to push onto the point as well. Mort actually on the sidelines as well, just in a duel right now with Swoosh. Can he win it? Can he take him out? Mort's no stick. They will just actually Swoosh will back up onto the point, but close fight at the moment, but they did manage to take the point, so EndPoint taken up on the scoreboard.
Oh my goodness, Unfixed laying it on deep, melting down people. A charged up Zarya, so scary, gets the triple kill in the end. And people talk about sometimes giving too much credit to the DPS players. Well, let me tell you, as far as tank play goes, Unfixed has been on point, especially in this round. Zarya, if there was a damage stats we could pull up, I guarantee you Zarya would be on top right now for just how much Unfixed has done. And he has a Graviton here to prove it. Early Graviton coming in, pulls in 3, Pulse Bomb out, does not kill her just yet. Sound Barrier able to keep the offense somewhat alive, but they've taken terrible damage. They're not going to be able to go for the engage they want for here, and Unfixed still at 100% energy, just laying it in.
The Fantasy fires off the Death Blossom, but goes down immediately as a result. Just no support for him there, so won't get any value off the back of that. That's a Death Blossom gone as well, thanks to the recent patch change where it drains it super fast. Zip trying to get in the background will force out the Transcendence from Mort, but that's just going to drag this fight even longer. Yuki will survive a bomb as well using his own Transcendence, so no support ultimates left until Cruz gets here, and when Cruz arrives, I imagine Reunited are just going to re-engage super hard.
Right now, both teams are feeling rather enlightened. Both Transcenses had come out, but Fragem right now holding on to this Graviton does have 88% charge. Can effectively be his own follow-up at this point. Needs to wait for the rest of his team, though, as things are getting a little bit grim here. They have about 2 big team fights left, maybe 3, and here comes EndPoint. They roll in. Graviton is out. Pulls in Unfixed. Unfixed might not be long for this world. Winston is in there as well. It won't be enough. Morte, though, getting all sorts of cleanup in the back. It is a Zen war right now. Zen's lighting up the kill feed for both sides. As Voltage now coming to the fight towards the end. Tracer, a duelist, likes it when fights have devolved to this point. Holding on to the Pulse Bomb. Looking for Zarya. No! Fragem at the last moment, able to take out Voltage. And it's going to be EndPoint flipping this in their favor.
And tragedy started right at the start of that fight. So Cruz was ready to go at the sound barrier. I think he was even trying to fire it off and just died mid-air before he landed and didn't manage to get it off there. That sound barrier would have been so pivotal for that fight. But that said, Reunited still have a lot of space, but they're going to be fighting into the enemy sound barriers, both of them go off.
All right, here we go. Next fight is underway. Sound barrier for Reunited leading the way. Voltage with the Pulse Bomb, able to take out 2. 3 kills here for Reunited. And this might be going terribly here for EndPoint because, again, if they lose this fight here on, which is looking like they will, they're only going to have 1 more shot to retake this round.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to say, though, Kib has been playing this McCree and has not been finding too much value out of it. He's been firing off these Deadeyes, but quite often he's either just forcing the enemy team into a different position and they just reposition. But of course, when he's just zoning out and the team fight is actually still happening, he's not dealing damage while that Deadeye is up and running. And in that last fight, he fired it off on the high ground. The enemy team just killed him and just took him out there. So not too sure how effective this McCree is being, but Fantasy, oh no, buys off Death Blossom in the middle of nowhere, gets nothing for it. And Transcendence just to get on the point.
He felt the pressure and took a situation he probably wouldn't have liked to have taken. Here comes Voltage, and the Pulse Bomb sticks. Musashi is done, and this is looking good here for Reunited's Voltage. Getting all the cleanup he's looking for and more. EndPoint going to have to run the reverse sweep here if they want to bring it back. A very similar situation to what Tornado Rocks found themselves in.
Yeah, Fantasy now just stalling on the point, but he's going to go down super fast. They're going to retake the point, and it's going to be down to Musashi just to get onto the point before it ticks down in overtime. Can they do it? And Winston jumping in as well.
They're keeping the overtime in progress here, but they are just shading deaths. They haven't really come close to getting any sort of explosiveness here. Swoosh not going to have a Pulse Bomb up for a while, and he has to get on the point here. It's still in overtime. It's good of them to at least keep in overtime, but it does diminishing returns on it, kicking awfully fast, and that's going to be Reunited now with a definitive edge, 1 round away from taking it all.
Yep, and Reunited, like, I'm impressed by EndPoint, right? Like, Reunited is the top EU seeded team at the moment. They are just far and away a consistent team, a really solid team, and EndPoint are making them work for this win. Like, they are making things happen, they are getting results, and particularly Swoosh is just doing such a good job on this Tracer. That's, like, far and away, he's been putting out work, he's been opening up space, he's been finding damage, and finding damage onto Reunited, who have 2 of the best supports in Overwatch. That's hard work. That's really hard work. So definite shout out to EndPoint here as we go back to the garden and let's see what they can find here.
Alrighty, so they're moving out here once more. And for EndPoint, this is do or die. They'd definitely like to start out here with a good early team fight, give themselves some buffer, but Reunited moving right in. They run the double bubble pretty darn good here as Voltage right now gets right to the back, immediately assassinates Fragem, and when you're down Zarya early, that is never a good thing as Voltage has Zen his sights. Uki in rough shape. He is going to go down, and Reunited looking like they will be getting first capture.
Yeah, Reunited definitely got the better out of the early trade there. Winston going down is one thing, but when Zarya goes down, you just lose so much momentum, you lose so much pressure as well. She can do so much damage in these early fights with that Winston engaged, and so when you lose her, it just becomes so much harder. Voltage is also ready to go with a Pulse Bomb already, and Unfixed as well on his way to a Graviton Surge. Now they've got to be so careful not to get hemmed in here on this little choke point here, and they've got to be so careful around this bridge as well. I imagine they might be trying to push the back line, but instead, no, they're going for the bridge. What can happen here?
Voltage right now is going to open up here. The Pulse Bomb does not stick, but look, he rewinds in. Is just relentlessly going after Uki. Uki is going to have PTSD after this. As Unfixed does come in from the back, takes out 2, and again, off that Voltage distraction, able to land the right clicks he needed. As 3 quick kills here from the side of Reunited make it 4. Unfixed coming in big once more on that Zarya.
Yeah, Voltage is just occupying so much attention right now, and they just can't kill him either. They're just not getting the result they need. If he goes down fast, and sure, it's fine, but dedicating that many resources to Tracer when you've got Unfixed on high charge just spamming away in the back, that's going to cause problems. That's going to cause so much damage, and they're ready to go with a massive wombo combo here for the next fight. I think EndPoint just need to try and force this next fight, try and draw out as much as they can, and then push once more. It's going to cost them a lot of time, but it's their only option.
The problem for EndPoint is that they're probably going to open up a Sound Barrier Dragon Blade. They are going to do just that. I don't think they realize how many ults they are running into. We'll see if they can make the most of it here, but here comes Swoosh. Dragon Blade at the ready. He's already lost 2 members of the team from that Voltage and Pulse Bomb. and he's just running around, not gonna get what he's looking for here. Sound Barrier and Dragon Blade have been used, and this could not have gone any more poorly here for EndPoint. And I gotta say, I'm not loving Swoosh on Genji here. I think he was doing way more work on the Tracer.
Yeah, absolutely. He just seemed to be getting better results there, but shout out to Cruz as well, because he just did such a good job of juking that Dragon Blade as well, just jumping up the pillar in a really clever way and managing to jump away at the last minute from a swipe that would have put a lot of damage on him at the very least. But Valitar, just look at this. Aggressive. He's taking out Zip. He's taking out the Winston. This is insane out of Valu.
This is the last opportunity here. At 89%, they must get on set point in a hurry. Deadeye coming up from Fantasy, and not a great situation. Unfixed just charges him down and melts him. Not at all what Fantasy was looking for there, and now they're gonna have to rush on the point. They're down 2 members, but if they leave here for any reason, the game will be over. The series will be over. Reunited will be striking blood here as Kib does get the cleanup here. Left click on McCree, picks up 3. Zarya in trouble. And this is going to be it. Reunited going to take this 3-0, but I gotta say, especially early on here on this map, EndPoint looked like they had a chance, just not able to put it all together.
Yeah, I think EndPoint should, feel okay about this. You should never feel good about losing, but losing to Reunited's not a shameful thing. And losing to Reunited after sort of taking them to the end of the map on 2 payload maps, now arguably Reunited aren't the greatest in the world at payload at the moment, but it's still pushing one of the top tier teams all the way to the end. When you yourself aren't necessarily one of the top tier teams, they should feel fairly good about this. They should go back, watch this as much as they can, learn from it. And yeah, like, I would not be embarrassed about this at all. Like, this is a really good showing, especially from Swoosh, the man on your screen right there, dancing away from that McCree damage. Just did so much for that team.
That was, yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, we favored Reunited coming in, and they clearly have a lot of good weapons in their disposal. Voltage, of course, absolutely relentless at getting to the back line. I think there's high points there for EndPoint, especially when you look at what Swoosh was able to do on Tracer and how they were doing early fights. I just think that they have to go back, look at the VOD, go, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. Find a way of containing a Tracer as good as Voltage in the future, but, I mean, there's stuff to work with there, if nothing else.
Yeah, the talent is there. It just needs practice and refinement. And like Reunited are one of the hardest working teams around as well. They scrim for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And so, yeah, like you just got to sort of take that malleable material and hammer it into the right shape. And hey, we got another EU team sort of encroaching into tier 2, trying to push up through the ranks. So good showing there for EndPoint. And of course, they're not out of this tournament either. This is a group stage, so still plenty more opportunities.
Absolutely. Of course, as just mentioned, this is not elimination stage. We're just beginning here in the group stage. We're going to be back here tomorrow and throughout the week here with 2 best of 5s every day. Should be awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. And any final words or parting thoughts before we take off here for the day?
No, thank you. It's just a massive pleasure to be here with you, ZP, of course. And if you sort of want to find some, give some casters some love or some feedback as well, as long as it's constructive, you can find me at @1_amongst_many. You can find ZP at @TempoZP. So, just follow your casters, give them some love, give them some constructive feedback. Twitch chat, please. And yeah, it was a pleasure. It was a blast.
Yep, same goes there. Definitely follow you can follow me on Twitter, Twitter @TempoZP. Following your favorite casters on Twitter is one of the best ways of showing support. And let me just look at Twitter. It's 1_amongst_many, not yes. 1_amongst_many altogether, because someone else probably took that.
1_amongst_many was taken.
Yeah, so many Twitter names have taken. It's just like, really? That was taken? But show some love. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time for more action on the Lenovo Cup.